No, I'm all right. Okay. Let me find the clicker here.
Stacy?
Yes.
Is it possible to program Sugar when it says the amount of hours, that it at least populates a question saying, you know, something to the effect of, is this your final answer?
Are you sure? Yeah.
You make sure that this error is not occurring. I mean, you get the emails for the negative amount.
Of like negative requisitions? Yeah. I don't know. I think that's a really good question when there's something crazy. I mean, it wouldn't catch you have 57 hours on this coaching detail, but it seems like we could program it to catch it if it was negative hours.
Well, it does, you get the negative hours, but if it's over like a 12-hour period of time of coaching, really, that's kind of unrealistic.
Right.
You know, at least ask that, populate that question to make you take a second look at it.
Right.
Before you finalize it.
I'll definitely put that out to the Sugar Advisory
Okay.
Group and see if they can take it to the developers to find a way to do that.
What was it you said?
That if you either had a coaching detail where it said that you were there for 12 hours, or one that was negative hours, if there was a way to make it so it would give you like at least a warning, like, are you sure? She said, is this your final answer? You know, so that you could be, like if it's over 6 hours, like is there a way for us to bring up an extra prompt to say, you know, please double check this and make sure it's really right.
There is a coaching submission report you can run. It tells you exactly how many hours, and it will show you if there's negative or if it's excessive. And then you can go into each detail and see what happened. I run that weekly.
You run that weekly, and you found that
Coaching
very helpful.
summation report.
Coaching
I believe
summation
it's the
report.
coaching summation report. Under review reports, and then you go have to find it, but it's under
So,
summation for the month.
Along this top bar, you can, or in this case, we click on this down arrow to find reports. And then you'd be able to, in the search bar, probably put coach or summation, and it would pull
Does
it
it by
up.
month? You can pull it up last month, you can actually pull it up for any month that you want to look at.
And I know they're working to make some changes to the reports to make them more universal, more useful. Like right now, there's over 400 reports because other people have created them, and you know, there's so many that they're working to come up with a better naming convention for the reports, so you know what it's going to pull for you, and also, you know, so you'll know what it's useful for. So they'll be working on that. But for now, you'll know it's the coaching summation report. Okay, who had non-example number 1? Who would like to tell me what's wrong with this one? And this actually, in preparing for this, we found this one in our council. So this is something that we just found, and we were like, ooh, a non-example. Here we go.
The program abbreviation doesn't match the abbreviation in the front of
So
the
the program abbreviation is CMC, and over here the requisition says CRMSI, and it literally is one down from CMC. So it just was easy to click on the wrong one. Okay. Did anybody else have something else on that one, or you all found that error pretty easily? Okay, for this one, who had number 2? What's wrong with this one?
Start and end date. Total billable hours, negatives.
So the start and end date are on the same day, right? But it starts in the afternoon and ends at 3:30 in the morning. Boy, you guys are really hard workers too.
You work backwards.
You work backwards. Your coaching was so effective, you put them in the hole, right? Okay. So and you could also see it here for the total cost. That'd be another place to catch it, is it's a negative $425. That'd be another hint that something is wrong. Okay. Here's the third one. What's wrong with this one? The description. It's one of those fun ones that says coaching. And that's when we are calling saying, okay, can you please give me a little more, right? Tell me a little bit more about what happened. And this was actually on their coaching log too, it said coaching. So we had to call them and get some more information.
So it can't say, see attached coaching.
And the reason is this, that what the state is getting includes that field. They aren't getting all the attached logs and all of that. They're just printing a report, and it includes this description. And so when I get questions, they're saying we don't know what that means, but they don't have all the other documentation. So just a sentence or two to say I worked with them on, like we were saying, on their ERS results, developing their QIP, and kind of going over that, just a brief little blurb that tells us more, because that could mean anything. So just a little bit more description. It doesn't have to be really long. Okay, this one had quite a few things wrong with it. So who wants to take this one?
We'll take it. We did it.
Okay, let's go, Claudia.
All right, so the dates are wrong. We're on the 19th and
172
one.
hours.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah, we weren't real sure on it looks like it's 15 minutes, but what it looks like to me is they did the coaching on the 19th and they went in and changed that, but they input the data on the 26th and forgot to change that. So if they did that at 1:45, we could assume that it was not 15 minutes of coaching.
Yeah.
It could be the 4 that they were talking about, but we're not real sure. And
Yeah.
we probably would have put that at 0 and put the total billable hours at 4,
Yeah.
assuming that's what happened. If
Sure.
there's not enough information to tell how many hours actually would have been there.
Yeah, and what I think actually happened with that time part is they did the initial prep on the 19th. They did the coaching visit on the 26th.
Okay.
And so it should have really probably been a total of 4 hours altogether, but not 4 days, or 6 days, or 7 days. And so, you know, there's no reason to go in and do a 15-minute coaching detail for your prep, and then do another coaching detail for a week from now. You can include it all in one. So you can do your prep and your follow-up for that one detail as one entry. You don't need to double your work. Just put your prep time on the actual coaching day that it happened. So if you were there on 2/26 working with this program, you just tack 15 minutes on for prep time for what you did the week before, and it's going to be just fine. Okay, what else is wrong with this guy?
The description.
The description.
Yes, they need more.
RA, that's super helpful, isn't it? Which means readiness assessment, but that one, if you are a state person and you aren't using that particular abbreviation, you may not know what that means. And I don't remember what I did last week, let alone last month, so I may forget what that means. But I can't even tell you with certainty what RA means. Did you go through the whole thing? Did you work on just sections of it? You know, what does that mean? So a little more detail for sure. The last thing that's wrong with this one is the billable type is empty.
Yep.
And usually it's going to say bill to funder is usually the billable type that we're using. Has anybody else used a different billable type? Yes?
We're paid by the grants. We use the non-billable state.
So you're an internal coach. Okay. So, yeah, so absolutely. In that regard, for us, we have all external coaches, so they're all contracted. But if you have internal coaches, it's going to be a different billable type. But you have to make sure that you have that field there as well. Obviously, I should have made all of them harder like this. Okay, so, other questions, comments, thoughts about this? Yes.
So I'm curious, when I make
a coaching detail and I put further steps for me and further steps for the provider, what do they see? What kind of information do they
The
see?
provider can see the further steps for provider, the next steps for provider
Uh-huh,
is what they're able to see
okay,
in EC Connect.
okay. So if I put in, if I did an ERS readiness assessment and I put in the ratings that I gave them, can
They
they see
cannot
that?
see that.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and that's really more for your knowledge than theirs. I mean, we certainly hope you're sharing that with them, but it isn't, they can't see the back end of that in Sugar. They're only seeing what's in EC Connect, and it's just the next steps.
Okay.
Other questions? And I think it's always good to know what they can see. I think that's a great question. Yes?
Coaching next steps? Is there a coaching next steps?
Can they, there says, here's coaching next steps, and that's,
Can they see that?
they cannot see coaching next steps. They can only see provider next steps. This is the notes for your coach of anything, like, I need to work more heavily on this area or whatever, although,
They can see that.
of course, but my rule of thumb is always, I don't write anything down that I wouldn't let anybody see. You know, because we have seen coaches that have put maybe some not so positive things in there. And I just don't think you should ever assume that people can't see that. It's, you know, kind of like putting it on Facebook,
Right.
right? Everybody can see it. It's there forever, right? So yeah, don't write anything down that you wouldn't be okay sharing. So make sure you put it in the right, with the right thought behind it, because maybe somebody really does need a lot of help with a certain area. But let's make sure we do it from a strengths-based perspective. Always a good way. Other questions? Everybody feeling good? Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Linda and Connie for them to finish things. Here's my information. If you come up with other questions, concerns, anything like that, feel free to reach out. Happy to help support you guys.